Hello folks, Lone Adventurer here. Thank you very much for stumbling your way back to my channel, joining me for this adventure. This is part 2 of my playthrough of Steam Highwayman, Fog and Ambuscade. Hopefully I'm saying that second word right. I really should find out what it means. I don't know what it means. Fog and something or other. If you haven't seen my first playthrough of this game, there'll be a link up in the corner of the screen and in the description down below if you would like to check that out first. But otherwise, I think all we need to do really is get straight into it, because in the first video it felt to me like I was just sort of driving around the country somewhat aimlessly and not really achieving much of anything. So I'm probably being a bit harsh on myself there and on the game, because it really is early days. We haven't even scratched the surface of this book, so I think what we need to do is just crack on and hopefully find some more interesting things to do and some more interesting encounters to have. So I think that's what we're going to do. Now, in the last video we finished up in Marlow. Marlow being this town here, which looks to me like it may well be the largest in the book. Perhaps that, or Maidenhead down there. Fingers crossed there'll be some stuff to do in here, and I can already see there's a whole bunch of different places we can visit. Marlow is a prosperous and self-satisfied little town. Fat from the tolls on the Thames barges passing through the lock and the steamers that cross over the suspension bridge. The high street is lined with shops and wholesalers, and the chimneys of the Weathered Brewery send out a thick smoke tinted with gold. So we can visit Hunt's Hardware, the Ship Inn, the Two Brewers, All Saints Church, the Freight Yard, the Weathered Brewery and Marlow Lock. I feel like it's always a good idea to visit the inn when you first get to a town, in my experience. So we've got the Ship Inn, the Two Brewers. That might be an inn as well. Let's go to the Ship Inn to start with. 86. You have to duck to enter the Ship Inn, then choose between two parlours in which to drink and recuperate. On one side is a jolly, raucous crowd of navvies, songsters, brewers' mates and hauliers, while on the quieter side sit fat merchants supping port and soup. So I can either order a bumper of port and sit quietly for 4 shillings, or buy a round of drinks for the crowd for 8 shillings, or return to the high street. Let's just go for ordering the port and sitting quietly on this occasion. Maybe we'll come back later and order a round of drinks for everyone. But let's keep it a bit more cheap and cheerful for now. So that's 4. So that's taking us down to £3 and 3 shillings. And we're going to turn to page 373. The port parlour is quiet and stuffy. You get talking to a merchant who tells you that if you are looking for work, freight wagons travelling from the Golden Ball Inn are always looking for protection from highwaymen. Outside, rain spatters the glass. It looks like it will be a dirty night. We do not have the code word afterthought, so we're not going to do that, so we can return to the high street. So that didn't really get us anything, unfortunately. More money down the drain. So we could go back in and buy a round, but I might hold off on that for now. Let's visit the Two Brewers at 265. Down towards the river you find the Two Brewers. Its homely brick facade has a young wisteria vine beginning to creep over it. Inside there is a warm fire and an inviting stall at the bar. Several locals look up as you enter, but choose not to see you or meet your eye. They can tell they are better off being able to claim they have never seen or met you. The barman gives you a wary nod, neither rude nor welcoming. He is waiting to see exactly who has entered his establishment. Now we've got two options here. The first is to yet again buy a drink. The second is to ask to see Mrs. Petty. Buying a drink costs 1 shilling. Asking to see Miss Petty, I think, requires this keyword. Now again, I don't see anything in the rules about keywords at all. Actually, I don't think I see anything about how keywords operate at all. Anywho, not only is there no mention of how keywords work, there's no mention of how keywords work when in brackets. So my assumption is we have to have that keyword in order to access that option. But never mind, I'm going to buy another drink. Probably getting a bit tipsy by this point. And we will turn to 384 to see what happens as a result of that. Here we drink our own Marlow beer, says the landlord as he pulls you a pint. Brewed just behind the high street. Weathered Thames bitter. You'll enjoy this. The beer has a hoppy aroma but a sweet, rounded taste. There is a nutty richness given by the toasting of the malt, but the colour is pale. What magic of brewery has achieved that? The locals tell you about the woman who has taken on the ferry by the Bounty, west of Bourne End. Apparently it is the only river crossing that the constables overlook. If you are wanted by the constables, turn to 28248. I don't think I'm wanted by the constables, am I? Oh yeah, there's a little wanted section. Okay, and I haven't ticked that. Fair enough, I'm not wanted by the constables. Return to the parlour, 265. So I guess this is just going back. And then we'll be leaving the pub, turning to page 4. Alright, let's push on, shall we? Try something else. Should we go to the Weathered Brewery, see what happens there, what magic they're using to brew their fancy, light-coloured ale, whatever it was. Turning to 899. An atmosphere of warm, hoppy goodness fills the courtyards of the Weathered Brewery. Even the horses pulling the old-fashioned drays seem to be enjoying the brew mixed in with their oats. The company employs many in Marlow, and the townspeople are proud of their part in a drinkable legend. If you have the code word advertise, no we don't. If you are a friend of Louis Stadler, no we're not. So we can talk to the wholesale manager or we can leave. So I guess we'll talk to the wholesale manager, 827. You find the wholesale manager pacing her office. This has gone too far, she shouts to her secretary. That dratted haulage guild, they can't just lock our hauliers up in their private jail. I'm afraid that's exactly what they've done, replies her secretary. Roberts, Fluellen, Masters and Shaw have all been detained for not having the correct transportation licenses. I have the telegraph here. First they slap new tolls on malt and hops, on the road and the river, and now they arrest my drivers. We have to do something about it. We'll never be able to finish our next brew. It's a stranglehold. If you have the Guildsman medallion, turn to 950 immediately. No, we don't. Offer to help or mind your own business. Let's offer to help. 421. Excuse me, you say. I can't help but overhear. The haulage company are pressuring you? The manager laughs bitterly. We might look like a successful brewery, she says, but we're on the ropes. The haulage guild are trying to strangle us, to make brewing entirely unprofitable. Ever since our shareholders rejected their buyout the other month, we desperately need new deliveries of hops and malt up the river. But what we really need is a chance to strike back. We have a recipe for a new beer ready, but with the time pressure of our debts and the supply of hops running out, we don't really have a chance to brew and test. That can take months, and we don't have months. Is there another way, we ask? Well, we could model the brew on the computation engine, but we don't have a program powerful enough to run the calculations. I've heard of someone running a test like that, but they used a rare set of punch cards indeed. Aramanth A, I think they called it. If we had those, I reckon we could run a theoretical test right here. Well, I don't have those, do I? No, I've got... I had to check, because I did get given some punch cards at the start, and they were Celador E. So we can say, maybe I can find them for you. 657. I hope you can find them, she says. I'll pay you well for them. They're not the sort of thing you come across every day. Gain the code word advertise, then leave the brewery. So that'll be turning back to entry 4 again. Okay, is that our first keyword? Or have we got one already? I think that might be our first one. So I've got the keyword list here. This is indeed our first one. So unfortunately, that didn't really give us any clue as to where we might go to get those punch cards. So we're just going to have to keep an eye out, I suppose. Alright, let's continue on exploring Marlow. Let's go to All Saints Church, 681. All Saints Church has a fine flint and stone facade and an elegant spire rising beside the river. It is a recent building testifying to the prosperity of the people of Marlow. And inside, rich colours dapple the floor where sunlight streams through the painted glass. A poor box stands by the door, and the sound of music flows from the direction of the organ. Linger and listen to the music, make a donation to the poor box, or leave the church. I guess I will linger and listen to the music. Turn to 657. If you have the code word burnish, turn to 61 immediately, otherwise read on. The organist is playing something slow and mournful, beginning with low, quiet phrases that pass like waves in the dark river. The chirping pipes of the upper register only accent the sorrow and loneliness of the writer. It is a plea in melodic form, a prayer or request, resigned, not desperate, all the sadder for the tinge of hope that looks upwards. And then as you listen, the organist segs into a livelier piece, the answer to the prayer, the thankfulness of cascading brassy pipes, punching rhythmically and exuberantly. The same flowing melody is there beneath it all, but transformed from sorrow into joy. At the end of the piece, you move to catch the eye of the organist. It is a young man, clumsy in his movements, except as his hands fly over the keys, and stops. The vicar has crept up to your side and speaks from your elbow. Gregory doesn't understand if you thank him. He understands very little, even of the creed. But he undeniably has a gift for playing the machine. It relieves him and saves us all from his rages. I have had complaints that we should find another organist, one more able to converse with the congregation, to teach the choir, but he is very territorial and won't let anyone near the organ, not even me. So I let him play. The vicar sighs. It is a shame. We could be quite a successful church if it weren't for the old ways that cling. Leave the church. Whoa. Very mysterious. Gregory sounds like an interesting character. What else? I don't think we've been to the freight yard. I don't think we've been to Marlow Lock. Is there something else? Hunt's Hardware. Did we go there? I'm not sure we did. Let's go to Hunt's Hardware at 33. Okay, so we've got a shop with some stuff. Some things here that can boost our stats by the looks of things, but that looks way too pricey. I could buy some more handy, cheap and cheerful stuff. Or a skeleton key, that sounds handy. Shall I just buy some handy items? Maybe I could buy some rope, perhaps a lantern, a shovel. How many shillings are in a pound again? 20 shillings in a pound. So, how about we buy some rope, a lantern, wire cutters or shovel? I don't want to spend too much money. I've only got £3. Maybe if I go for maybe I'll just go for a rope and a lantern for the time being. Or a tarpaulin is 4. I can't think of why I might need that off the top of my head. I'm just going to go for a rope and lantern. So that would come to 10 shillings, which means we would go down to £2 and 18 shillings, I think. Oh, let's add those items down here. I didn't actually read the text, so let's just do that as well. Hunt's hardware shop is tucked away down a side street between a row of cottages and a barber's. But when you enter, it is plain why this is a destination emporium for any self-respecting engineer. The staff are all one extended family and are keen to send every customer away satisfied. Don't think I have a strong box that needs opening. Worth remembering though. So we could leave the shop or leave Marlow. We'll just leave the shop, turn back to 4. Let's go to the lock, Marlow Lock at 109. Marlow Lock is always busy. Steam barges queue both sides of the gates, and the powerhouse chimney smokes all day and all night. There are wharves here belonging to the paper mill, the sawmill, and the brewery. If you have a boat docked here, you will be able to purchase or offload cargo, as well as going aboard and making your way along the Thames. Well, I haven't got a boat. I don't really want to inquire about passage along the river. I've got no real reason to do that at the moment, so I guess that's it for that location. Is that everywhere? I can't remember now. Yeah, we've been to the Ship Inn. We've been to the Two Brewers. We've been to the church. Have we been to the freight yard? I don't think we've been to the freight yard. 669. The freight yard in Marlow is full of laden trailers waiting to be hauled away to Henley, Maidenhead, Wickham, Oxford, London, or further abroad. Several road engines are undergoing repairs, and the air is thick with the smell of grease and coal dust. We have the option here to look for work. We might as well do that. We'll turn to 836. You ask around about casual work here at the freight yard. One haulier is looking for an engineer of sufficient skill to help him repair and upgrade some trailers, while another is looking for some hands to unload freight from Henley. So we could offer to help on the trailers. If we've got an engineering score of 6 or higher, we've got an engineering score of 6. Should we go for that one then? We'll try and put our engineering skills to good use. So we're going to turn to 441. It takes several hours of labour to get the trailers ready. A girl is tasked with keeping a small furnace up to temperature while you help the haulier forge new parts. The orange glow of the coals lights the yard into the evening, and you quickly forget the choking smoke and grime. When your job is done, the haulier thanks you and offers you 6 shillings and a pork pie for your trouble. Also, you have improved your knowledge of working with metal. Roll a dice and add 2. If the score is higher than your unimproved engineering score, you can increase it by 1. So that's not too likely. You have to roll quite high. 1. Okay, so we don't improve our engineering score, but we do get 6 shillings and a pork pie. And that's something, isn't it? So that's going to take us up to £3 and 4 shillings, I believe. And we get a pork pie. Lovely. Who doesn't like a pork pie? Alright, well, okay. Not the most exciting event in the world, but it got us something. I think that's it. I mean, we could go back to the church and make a donation. Maybe we'll do that just so that we've had a fairly thorough investigation of Marlow before we carry on our way. So I'm going to go back to All Saints Church at 681. And this time we're going to make a donation in the poor box, 1 shilling or more. Let's do 4 shillings. So most of our earnings that we just had, just in case it matters. Maybe it doesn't, but I don't know. 803. Ah, look at that. If you donated more than 5 shillings, go to 348. Otherwise, turn to 681. Oh, man. What did I donate? 4 shillings. I was 1 shilling off. That's super annoying. Turn to 681. Oh, we're back at the church. Oh, am I going to donate 5 shillings? I've already done 4. Okay, I'm going to donate another 5 shillings. I could have cheated and just given another shilling, but we would have known. I've just noticed the conversion rate is actually written down here on the satchel in tiny writing. Okay, so we're down to £2.15. We're going to make another donation, turning to 803. And then, because we donated 5 shillings this time, we're going to turn to 348. The vicar approaches you. Your gift is appreciated, he says smoothly. Very appreciated. Do you have any idea how much it costs daily to keep this place running? Coal for the heating furnace, water, gas, then the wages of the masons and the carpenters who are still toiling over our heads. The parish really don't appreciate the cost of a place like this, even before you factor in my salary, my staff, the cost of entertaining and maintaining good relationships with the nobles on behalf of the town, and the monthly gift of food to the parish poor as well. So the gift doesn't go directly to the needy, is our first. We can say 2 things. So the gift doesn't go directly to the needy. Bit confrontational, if you ask me. I mean, he does sound like he's spending some money on just entertaining people. But, you know, he's got to run the building, isn't he? Or, I've been dreaming of my sins. If you have apprehend. But I don't have apprehend, do I? So I guess I'm just going to accuse him. 237. I feel like he's not going to react very well. Well, it makes better sense for our donors to give into one pot, you know. Then the trustees and the parish council can decide how best to use the gifts to the church. The poor have their share, and so do the servants of the church. The vicar seems entirely free from shame in describing the process. We could call the collection Building Fund, but we found that anything labelled Poor Box collects more. Gain the code word aggregate and then leave the church. Alright, so we've got ourselves another code word there for some reason. Leaving the church, back to 4. Not sure whether that was worth 9 shillings of my money, but there you go. Let's leave town, turning to 169. Leaving town, the gas lamps are lit in the streets, reflecting off the damp tarmacadam. You have to weave your way between traffic heading out towards Maidenhead, Wickham and Henley. The bell of All Saints' Church gives a dull ring in the rising fog. Right, let me just get the map in front of me. So we are in Marlow in the middle. So we can head to Marlow Bridge. Can't see Marlow Bridge. Take the Henley Road west over to Henley. Travel towards Bovington Green. Where is Bovington Green? Can't see it. Can't see that either. Drive north towards Lane End. That should be a bit easier to see then, since I know it's north. Ah, there is Lane End up there. North or south? I guess we'll go sort of... I'd rather go south. Let's head to Marlow Bridge. I'm not sure where that is, but let's give it a go. So that's to 277. If you are wanted by the constables, turn to 419, otherwise turn to 389. I'm not wanted by the constables. Marlow Bridge is a fine suspension bridge crossing the Thames between 2 tall iron towers. It sees many a road train lumber over the river from the Maidenhead Road. Many a steam carriage speed recklessly across, and barges chug their way beneath, bringing grain or coal or wood down to the capital. Okay, so we can go into Marlow, which is obviously the way we came, then head towards Bisham Village, or take the lane through Cliff Wood. So Bisham is a little village just immediately here, and then the lane to Cliff Wood. Can I see a Cliff Wood? We've got Inky Down Wood and Highwood and the thicket. Can't see a Cliff Wood. But maybe we'll head to Bisham. Let's check out Bisham Village, 737. Oh, there's quite a bit to do here, actually. Or actually, quite a few of those options are just riding onwards. The thatched roofs of Bisham huddle beneath apple trees and lush meadows. The high escarpment to the south-east, and the wide river Thames to the west beyond the abbey. Even here, though, the power of steam is felt. A stubby tower smoking away shows where the cider makers have thrown in their lot with mechanization, and the rambling roof of the Bull straggles wonkily down the lane. So we could check out the Abbey, we could visit the Bull, or we could carry onwards. Feels like every time I visit a pub it costs me money. Let's start with the Abbey. So that's 34. Within the cool chalk and brick halls of the Abbey, the monks of the Order of St. Aloysius pad to and fro in their rope-soled sandals, pondering God's ways and their part in bringing his kingdom on earth. In the refectory, the monks keep an open table for any traveller in need of refreshment. You sit alongside traders, travellers and beggars, vagrants of the most ragged kind, loafers and wandering cripples. The meal is simple and hearty, and a serious quiet pervades the room. After eating, you talk with some of the travellers and hear their stories. Escape from the anarchy of Cornwall, hard labour in Wales, destitution and cholera in London. Here, at least, there is fresh air and freedom, even if work is hard to come by. If you are wanted by the constables, turn to 352, or we can leave. Okay, fairly uneventful. Back to 737. Okay, let's go into the pub then. 801. Inside the dark parlour of the Bull, it is as though the troubles of the world are fenced away behind the diamond-leaded frames of the windows. Several freighters are enjoying a game of backgammon, and a couple of monks from the Abbey are making a delivery of produce for the kitchen. So we could order a drink, or we could talk to the monks. Let's talk to the monks at 601. The monks lay down their baskets of food. Abbot sneers getting old, says one. It's the Dean who'll be in charge next, mark my words, and then there'll be some changes. Less vegetable carrying, more steam. They will sell you some of their surplus produce and will even pay a fair price for any game you have. I don't have any game. Ooh, so I could go game hunting. Look at that, a deer carcass gets you £1 5 shillings. Could buy a bottle of stout, buy a cloak, buy some Abbey ribbon. I don't think I'm going to buy any of that stuff for the time being. So we're just going to return to the parlour, 801. Back in the parlour, we will order a drink for £1 just in case it triggers something else. So that is 687 to order a drink. You are offered a pint of Clive Down Deep Stout, named for the reach of the Thames where the river narrows and darkens beneath the cliff. It has a velvety texture and an oaty, almost woody taste. Strange lady passed through here with her dog a few days ago, says the barman, heading south. Had a story to tell about an adventuress and a sham marriage up north somewhere. Bit potty. She was asking for directions to the Bath Road. Turn to 801. Back to 801, that is. So back at 801, we'll leave the parlour, back to 737. And then we need to decide where we're going to go next. Take the steep road into Inky Down Wood. Let's go into the wood, shall we? Let's go into Inky Down Wood. So that's 528. The road here switchbacks and climbs steeply up the escarpment from the flat-bottomed valley below. Together with a thick shroud of trees, it makes Inky Down Wood an ideal place for an ambush. So we can ride onwards, or we can wait for a private carriage to rob. Feels like we should try and do some robbing, 405. Hopefully we are ready for this. A dense stand of holly provides a good place to wait. Dusk comes early beneath the shadow of the boughs, and you check your velo steam is up to pressure and ready to head out onto the road should you need to make a quick getaway. Roll 2 dice to see what you encounter. 6. Steam carriage spotted. Alright, 115. A steam carriage comes chugging up the hill, towing a trailer load of luggage behind it. The driver is plainly conserving water. This is your moment. How will you try to rob the passengers? So I could try to ride alongside, I could shoot at the driver, or I could show myself. So my motoring skill is 4. I've got high engineering, higher ingenuity, which I guess means I'm good at sort of like being cunning and working things out. So maybe if I show myself, and then we'll just see whether we can do something cunning. 276. You step into the road and ready your weapons. Stop that wagon or I'll blast a hole through every one of you. Make a ruthlessness roll of difficulty 13 to scare the driver into stopping. You can add 2 to your roll if you have a double headlamp. I do not, but I have a good ruthlessness score. Well, do I? I have a half decent ruthlessness score of 4. So it's been so long since I've done a roll in this game. I think it's just rolling 2 dice, right? Roll 2 dice, add the total of the appropriate skill score. If the total is greater than the difficulty, you have succeeded. So it's got to be greater than. So we've got to roll more than 13. We're adding on 4. 10. And we're adding on 4, so that gives us 14. Alright. So that's a successful ruthless roll. So we're going to turn to 149. The passengers of the steam carriage step down from their comfortable compartment. It is unavoidable that they will be able to give a good description of you later, so if you are not already, you will now be wanted by the constables. Roll a dice to see who you will meet. So I'm now wanted. Well, we have had a few situations where being wanted by the constables would have had an effect. This wanted section, wanted by the constables. Oh ho. And we're going to roll the dice to see who gets off the carriage. 2. An airship captain and hostess. 205. The airship captain staggers toward you, struggling with a sheathed sabre in one hand and a bottle in the other. You'll never besmirch Judy's honour, he slurs. I'd die before you lay a hand. He collapses in an inebriate heap. You may take the sabre, PAR2, £2, 3 shillings, and a gold ring, and a bottle of whiskey. Fantastic. So we're wanted, but we have got a bunch of stuff there. Oh, I've already got a sabre of PAR, parry? 2. Mine one is 6, so I've already got a better weapon. If I take it, can I sell it? I guess there's no harm in having a backup sabre. I think maybe there's a limit to the amount of stuff you can carry. I'll check that in a second. But yeah, we've got £2, 3 shillings, so that's taking us up to £4 and 17 shillings. That's pretty sweet. Gold ring, bottle of whiskey. It's not how you spell whiskey, is it? Whiskey's got an E in it. No, it hasn't. It's got an H in it. I knew there was something not right. Alright, let's just have a quick check of how encumbrance works. Possessions. You may carry up to 12 possessions in your inventory at any time. Okay. But I think you can put stuff in lock boxes and hide stuff away. But that's pretty sweet. So we're going to ride away. 737. Right, where are we going to head to next? We've got the steep road to Inky Down Wood. Been there, haven't we? Yes. Okay, so we have the option to head north to Marlow Bridge, which is the way we came. Take the steep road to Inky Down Wood, which is where we just came from. Back in Bisham, which is where we're at, we've done the Abbey. We've been to the Bull. I think it's probably time to move on. We can ride down the lane towards Temple, ride down Hurley Lane, or take the road up Cliff Wood. I don't think it really matters too much, since this is all fresh territory to us. We could head down that way to Temple, find out what exactly that is. I mean, this isn't going to be a breakneck playthrough video. If you've made it this far, you've probably realised that it's more of a gentle exploration a gradual revealing of the countryside and the different things in it, so that I'm sort of improving my sense of place, and hopefully eventually we'll get a few quests and objectives, things to do, but those seem to be quite slow in coming. That said, we did have quite an action-packed time in the Inky Down Wood, didn't we? Anywho, let's ride down the lane towards Temple. 762. The lane twists down beside cottages and small holdings. The burble of water is never far away as the Thames flows just behind the trees. Roll a dice. 4. Temple Village. So we come across Temple Village. That's entry 37. The people of Temple Village work hard for the owners of the estate, the monks at Bisham Abbey. The rich soil is pressed hard and everything squeezed for the maximum profit. You can see the lock beyond the fence and the line of trees, but the monks strictly control any access from the road, and there is no mooring for riverboats. Okay, so we seem to have avoided any kind of event there, so we can carry on south, take the path to Hurley, or travel to Bisham. So Bisham is the way we came. We can crack on to Hurley or ride south. Well, maybe we'll go... Should we go to Hurley? Let's go to Hurley. Hurley is a small village huddled at the riverside. A busy boat-building yard owned by the Free Body family employs many of the locals and eel gatherers working the long weir every night of the running season. Take a look at Free Body's yard. Take the lane to Temple, which is the way we came. Ride south to the Henley Road. Steam on to Lock Island, which requires the keyword alluring, which we do not have. Or head to your boat if it's moored here, and obviously we don't have a boat yet. I guess we could have a look at Free Body's yard since we're here, and that is 611. Yeah, this is all boat buying stuff. Free Body's yard is a bustling hive of activity. A steam winch is hauling a barge out of the water as you approach. Old Free Body waves as you approach. Okay, so my options are to have improvements made to my boat. I don't have a boat. Sell your boat. Buy a boat if you do not possess one. Moor here or sail off. So that's a little bit of a broken entry, isn't it? Because if I don't want to make improvements to my boat, sell a boat, buy a boat, moor here or sail, there's no way of leaving this entry. So I'm going to have to assume there is a go back to the village option. Go back to 569. Alright, so I guess Hurley is pretty much a one business town, just Free Body's yard. So we are going to ride south to the Henley Road. So that's 513. So we're going to get out of this little cluster of villages and get back to the big road. The main road runs along the bottom of the valley here, bounded on one side by gardens, orchards, coppices and cottages of the straggling Hurley village, and on the other side by the steep-sided hill topped by Highwood. The road is well used, both by hauliers taking cargo over to Henley and by local farmers. So we could take the lane into Hurley. Is Hurley where we just came from? It is, isn't it? Or we could ride west or east or head up the track to Highwood. Well, we just had a bit of a woodland adventure. I'm not sure. Am I ready for another one yet? I guess we could have a quick look in Highwood. Looks to me like if we go west here, we pop off the edge of the map onto another book. So probably not that way. So we could either go east or we could go to Highwood. Maybe we'll go to Highwood. I guess I'm gradually making my way down to Maidenhead. But let's head into Highwood. Let's see what's in there. 2. Highwood sits atop a steep hill directly overlooking the Hurley Road. It is dense and quiet, the perfect place to create a hideout. If you wish to do so, you will need a tarpaulin, an axe, and an ingenuity score of at least 5. Do I have that? I do. Now, there was a tarpaulin available in a shop somewhere, wasn't it? But I don't think I've seen an axe anywhere. Discard the tarpaulin and tick the option below. If you choose to pass through the wood, you will travel over farmland towards Birchett's Green and eventually reach the Bath Road running far to the west. The noise and bustle of the turnpike seem like a world from this haunt of kites and crows. Okay, so obviously we're not creating a hideout right now because we don't have the things, but that sounds pretty cool. I like the idea of having a hideout. I guess we will ride south over the fields to 353. You continue over the high ground, heading south along the edges of the fields. Roll a die to see what you discover. 1, so we've got a wanderer. So we've actually hit the event here. If we roll a 3 to 6, nothing would have happened. So we're going to turn to 1006. A woman with a mongrel dog in tow comes whistling over the field towards you. She gives a jaunty nod of the head and stops to share a mouthful of food and a swig from her bottle of beer. Did we hear a rumour about this person in a pub somewhere? I think we did. I've been walking for a week or so down from the North Country. Spent several weeks working on Lord Bradingfield's estate near Newark, but they ran me out, you see, as a troublemaker. Ha! All I said was that his new bride was an impostor. I knew her in London, you see. Jenny Bull, her name is, and there she is, pretending to be some American heiress. Don't know how she pulled that one, the woman laughs. Good for her. Gain the code word apparently. Alright, so we can ride on, having heard this tall story about Jenny Bull, the imposter bride of Lord Bradingfield. Is Lord Bradingfield's estate, is that in this book, or is that from a different volume? Do we have Newark on here? Yeah, I don't see it. I don't even see it marked on the edges of the map, so I'm not really sure where Newark is. I mean, that's a real place, so I should probably have a vague sense of where Newark is, but my geography is rubbish. So we're going to ride on to 139. There is a short row of 6 brick cottages here. Toys in the yard around one indicate a young family. Gardens are neat and tidy, the lane swept clear of fallen leaves. As you steam by, a young woman washing clothes wistfully watches you pass. So we can take the lane to Highwood, that's where we just came from, head towards Birchett's Green or ride south to the Bath Road. Well, that seems to be very much towards the edge of the map. Although maybe we could go into Litchwick Green and up through the thicket. Okay, I think I might pause this one here, folks. Where were we? We were at 139. Okay, good. We'll have a little pause. We're down here. We've got another area of the map to explore. As I said, it's not going to be a breakneck speed, apparently, playing this game. You're in it for the long haul, I guess. Now, it might be a little bit rough around the edges, but I am finding it quite compelling. I'm not sure how many people are going to be compelled to watch beyond this second video, but I will do a third. Probably I'll leave a little bit of a gap between the second and the third video, and we'll see whether anyone comes back for the third one. Who knows, maybe there are some people out there who want to watch me play through a very leisurely paced gamebook such as Steam Highwayman. If you've been enjoying it, folks, do let me know in the description down below. Let me know if you've played this series. I am interested to know how people's experience of these books is over time. I know they certainly have their fans, and I'm very curious to know whether it's worth getting into the other books of the series. Obviously, I have barely touched the surface of this one, I'm not sure we have yet done 100 entries. In fact, I think we probably haven't. And this book here has over 1,000, so we have not yet seen 10% of what this book has to offer. So we'll come back for another one. Hope you enjoyed it, folks. Hopefully see you in the next one, and bye for now.